Yeah.
All right. But I don't want to mute because I got to talk to my guy when he shows up. Well, it was originally 7:40, then I pushed him. Okay, there's my guy. All right. Okay.
Coach Lane.
Coach Cully, how are you?
Man, I'm doing wonderful. Man, and looks like you're doing wonderful right now. I see some smiling faces behind you right there. Oh, I see a bunch of smiling faces back. Listen, hey, how we doing? Jacksonville. And listen,
right.
before I get, huh?
Well, I want to introduce you, or you
Well,
want to keep going?
Go ahead. I got so excited when I saw those faces right behind you. I'm telling you, I got so excited. I see that JAX back there, so I know where you go or what's happening. Here, let me stop, okay? Before you go ahead and do your thing. Okay.
All right, Coach, first of all, it's good to see you. First of all, it's been a while.
Good to see you too. It's been a while.
So for you ladies in this room, this is Coach David Cully, and I might be off in years, but he's coached football in some capacity for 42 years, give or take.
42 years. I'm going on my 43rd year. I'm going on my, I had 16 years at 8 different colleges. I hope you all only have one, and that's Jacksonville. And then I'm going into my 28th year in the National Football League.
And I have down here, and I learned this off of Wikipedia, so who knows if it's true or not. We got Tampa Bay, we got Pittsburgh, we got the Eagles, we got Kansas City, we got the Bills, we got the Ravens, and we got that newest gig that you have, head coach of the Houston Texans.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it took a while to get there, Coach, huh?
It did. And let me tell you something. Every minute that I've gone through to get here right now has been worth every bit of it. Because let me tell you something. Right now, hey, if it had happened to me earlier, I don't know if I would have appreciated where I'm at right now in my life with what I'm doing. And let me tell you something right now. After all these years, I just found out just from being here just for 3 months right now. But listen, in the background, Jacksonville, you just got to know this right now. I haven't lost any games yet. So everybody's patting me on the back right now. So it's feeling good. But let me tell you something. I'm enjoying every minute of this gig right now. Every minute.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, and I'm sure my athletes, I haven't told them anything about you yet. And Coach Cully's daughter wrote for me at Penn. She walked on. And I remember there might have been a story of how she walked on, if I remember.
Can I tell you that story real quickly, ladies? Let me tell you something. This is when I realized my daughter wasn't as smart as her daddy or her mother. The reason how she ended up rowing with Coach. Can you hear me, Coach?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, I know, and I can be a little loud too, girls, sometimes, so just bear with me. But this is what happened one day. It was during the Olympics in 2013. I believe the Olympics were going on, or something was going on, and there was, I can remember that curling. Y'all know curling, right? Well, obviously, my daughter doesn't know what curling is, but I remember her talking about curling, right? So when she's a freshman at Penn, where Coach Lane was, she goes over there and she says, Daddy, I think I'm gonna, some people had come through the dorm, said they're looking for people to try out for the rowing team. So first of all, my daughter can barely swim, So the thing is, she said, I'm gonna go try for rowing team. I says, great. I says, go get involved in something other than the academics. She had run track and field, did track and field in high school. And so she goes down there and she calls me back that night. She says, Daddy, I went down to the rowing meeting, and the rowing meeting was at Boathouse Row. I says, where's Boathouse Row? It says down by the lake where all the rowing boats and all the boathouses are. I says, yeah. I says, well, you said you wanted to row. She says, Daddy, I thought rowing was curling. I had no idea that I was going to have to be on a boat. So obviously she had been looking at curling on the deal and thought that was rowing. But this is what I said here, and this is why I appreciate all of you so much for what you do. When my daughter started out and she started going, after about 2 weeks, she was about ready to quit. And let me tell you why she was about ready to quit. She was about ready to quit because Coach Lane had everybody up in the morning, early, bright and early in the morning. Every one of you already know this, bright and early in the morning. She came back and she says, Daddy, I don't know if I want to do this. I think I'm going to quit. I said, whoa, wait a minute. I says, first of all, your last name is Cully. And I says, no Cully has ever quit anything. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. I says, you don't have to stay with it, but you started this and you're going to at least finish this season. Now, when you finish this season, then you make a decision to do what you want to do, but you are not going to quit because we don't do that. We never have, and we never will. And so finally she says, okay, I'll keep doing it. Listen to this young lady. For 4 years, she loved every minute of rowing with Coach Lane when she the best thing that ever happened to her. And here's the other thing I said too. She's a freshman and she's a lot outgoing than her daddy is. So I'm sitting there saying, I said, man, this is a pretty good deal for a mom and a dad. I said, she's got to get up early in the morning, way early in the morning. She's got to go down to boys. She's got to practice. Then she's got to come back and do her schoolwork because I told her, I says, like I was at college, I went to Vanderbilt University. I says, I was a special admit at Vanderbilt. I says, listen, I says, for whatever reason, they allowed me in there. I don't know why, but I knew when I got in there, I was going to finish. So they allowed her in. She was there. Now she had to work at it. But then she also had to go to practice in the afternoon. And I was saying, man, this is pretty good gig because at night when she's calling me, she is so tired, she don't want to do anything. I says, oh, that's my baby girl. And she's in college. I said, that's a pretty good thing for me, right? So let me tell you what. So she does that. And then here's what makes it even better. In the spring break and during winter break, she didn't have no break. They were going to either, I think, Coach, you might have went to Austin during the spring, or then you might, or vice versa, but you went somewhere. And I'm sitting here saying, man, I ain't got to worry about my daughter being on no beach, being over in Jamaica, or being whatever, because she is right down there now doing that. And let me tell you something. All you all's moms and dads or guardians or whatever, I'm going to tell you something. They are so proud that you're doing what you're doing because they know nobody, no athletes that I found out work harder and work more than what rowing does. And I appreciate that. Now, that was a long story, but that was a great story why I love rowing, because my daughter made it through.
Well, yeah, you're stealing my thunder here. I was going to say, your daughter walked on. We have in this room here, and I know we got a lot of people sitting around. We've got about 25, 30 people in here.
Yes.
About a third of them are walk-ons, right? And
Yes.
and Jessie made it through 4 years. Her senior year made the varsity 8, and was such an inspiration for those women in that boat. I mean, she was great. So, and I think she gets probably a lot of her enthusiasm, I would imagine, from you. Just a guess.
Well, she's either at 18 when she was with you, she's either going to get that or she's going to get a spanking, because I didn't care how old she was. She wasn't quitting.
Well, I spoke to you yesterday. I told you sort of some of the stuff we've been going through. COVID hit us pretty hard. We lost in total, I don't know, 10 to 12 kids through our entire program. And now we've got, I'll put it in football terms, sort of our second stringer stepping up to fill in the seat. And I don't know if you have any stories or words of inspiration for these guys as we get ready for tomorrow morning's racing. Yeah, well, first of all, let me say this first of all, you all are a team, all right? Whether it's first team, second team, third team, or whatever it is, you are a team. And everybody on that team has a role, whether it's being first team, being second team, third team, or whatever. And I'm so glad he got out of the way, because I got tired of looking at his face, and now I get to see you all's faces. So again, I appreciate that, Coach Lane, so much. But the point is this, just remember, ladies, you are a team. And that's the most important thing. And when people, I was just talking today, we got our rookies in. We're doing a rookie mini camp right here. And I just got some rookies in, and they've come from all over the country. And they got here, and they were all gung-ho about everything.
And after the first practice, you know, I had some of them throwing up a little bit. I had some of them a little tired or whatnot. They didn't really understand it because I said, oh, this is a whole different level than what you've ever been. But just remember this, regardless of what's happening with you, you got teammates right here. And everybody is for everybody. And when somebody's down or something's not right, you pick each other up. And it doesn't matter. It's not about first team or second team. It is about every one of you has a role. And your role is just as important as anybody else's role. Now, let me tell you what's just happened with you, with you all that's been second team, that's now becoming first team tomorrow, or vice versa, or whatever. All that's happened is your role has just gotten bigger. And let me tell you what is, as long as you keep each other in mind in saying that it's never about one individual. And in rowing more so than in anything, just like in football. In football, they always talk about the quarterback because he's the one that takes the snap all the time. But listen, he is one of 11. And we always have a motto is that 111. That means that it's never about one. It's always about the 11, because that is the only way that I know in this league that I've been in now for 28 years, the people that win consistently and the people that have been successful, it's never been about an individual. Now, there are some individuals that are very special at what they do, and there are some individuals that do things very well at a different level than others, but they can't do that without the other teammates. And then that role becomes just as important because those special players, those special teammates need everybody else to be successful. And then when you've got them, then that's what ends up happening is you find a way. Anything is possible. And all you all need to do right now, whenever you roll tomorrow or the next day or whenever, is the only thing you can control, that you have total control over, is you have total control over how you go about doing the best that you can do tomorrow. And let me tell you something, everybody sitting in that room right now, regardless of what happens with what position you come in tomorrow, if you go out there as a unit, as an individual, and do the very best, give the very best that you can in your role, regardless of what happens in the score, you have been successful. And you know why? Because that's all you can control. Sometimes you can't control the outcome, but you can control what effect you have on that outcome. And if that outcome means that you win, you have probably done the best that you can do in that particular moment. And when you do that, regardless of whether you're in first, second, or third place, you have been successful. You have been successful. And I'm going to read you something right here about someone that I gave to our team yesterday. And here's what it says. It says, our attitude will be our competitive advantage. Understand what I said? Our attitude will be our competitive advantage. Now, you all don't have all of your so-called first teamers there because of COVID. That's okay. I was on a football team last year in Baltimore with the Ravens that we had 21 guys at some point get COVID, had about 14 or 15 staff members that got COVID, and yours truly right here was one of them. And the point being this, is that it didn't matter, because you know what? When someone went down, and I missed the game, as a matter of fact, it's ironic that I'm sitting here talking to you. The game I missed last year was against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Baltimore. You know, that was the game I missed. So I'm telling you now, this is karma for you young ladies about me sitting here talking to you, and you being in Philly right now. You're going in Philly to play, but I'm talking to Jacksonville. And because I had a negative experience playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, except that day, without me, listen to this, without me, they were able to win. Now, I like to tell them that if I had been there, we'd have won by a lot more than what we won. But the point being is, the next person steps up. And we always have a mantra around here is that Somebody goes down, who's next up? The next up, you go up. And all you need to do is the best that you can do. But let me tell you what this little saying says right here. The title of it is, our attitude will be our competitive advantage. Listen to this. You should never view your challenges as a disadvantage. Instead, it is important for you to understand that your experience facing and overcoming adversity is actually one of your biggest advantages. Now, I'm going to say it to you one more time. You should never view your challenges as a disadvantage. Instead, it is important for you to understand that your experience facing and overcoming adversity is actually one of your biggest advantages. And you all have a big advantage tomorrow if you take that attitude and that mindset into your competition tomorrow. Take that into your competition. All right. And then here's the other thing too that I read, and y'all may not remember John Wooden, who was the head basketball coach at UCLA a long time ago. They won like 10 national championships and all that. He won like 7 in a row. And I've always kind of modeled kind of what he did and how he did things. But he had this thing about underdogs. And I know obviously you all has an excellent rowing team. You guys, you all are champions. You are a championship caliber university with championship caliber people, all of you. And this is what he said about, and because you all don't have your first teamers or so many people out tomorrow, people, whoever it is you're rowing against tomorrow in Philly, probably feel like, oh yeah, we got an advantage. Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't. Here's what you say about, and they probably would consider you being underdogs now. But here's what you say. Here's what I've always felt about that. And I'm going to read this to you right here. What he said. He says, I've never gone into a game thinking we're going to lose. Never. Even though there have been games where the experts say there's no way we could win. Even if we were big underdogs, I always felt anything can happen. Often enough, he was right. That's also why he never assumed he was going to win. Now, here's the point. There's a balance there. You all have a very good rowing program there. You're one of the top rowing programs in this country. You're expected to do well. Keep expecting to do well. Whoever has to step up tomorrow and row, again, expect that. And just do, again, what you can control. And what you can control is how good you go out and how much effort you give to do the best that you can do. And let me tell you something. That is all Coach Lane, that is all your parents, that is all your teammates will ever ask of you, is do the best. And when you do that, you're never, ever a loser. And always keep that in mind. You're never, ever a loser. When you look at yourself, remember when Michael Jackson sung that song, Man in the Mirror? There's no question. I've been in some ball games before where all of a sudden I've got my rear end whipped in a game, and I come out of the game and I come home and man, I don't want to go look in that mirror. I don't want to, but you know what though? The minute I go and I look in that mirror and I look at it and I look in to see, I see what was the issue that day. The issue had something to do with me. I maybe didn't do the best I could do, but when I don't, I accept that, I change that, and I go ahead and I do what I need to do to get to what I need to be what I need to be. Now, I'll say that. Coach Lane mentioned there about me. It's been, I guess I am, just for y'all's information, and I hate to say this. First of all, I have my AARP card, ladies. All right? I'm 65 years old. And I'm going to tell you this. When I go to McDonald's or sometimes when I go to Burger King, I use it and I want my dollar off. Okay? I do. I ask them. I say, I want my dollar off, or I want that free coffee, or I want that whatever. But I want you to understand this about, because I've had people in this profession ask me all the time about, when are you ever going to become a head coach? Listen, it wasn't my goal to become a head coach. My goal has always been to be the best possible coach and teacher, which is what we are. We are teachers. As coaches, we are teachers. And the best coaches are the best teachers. That's all I ever wanted to do, is be the best at what I did. And for years and years and years, that's all I did. Unfortunately, sometimes all over this country. When I say unfortunately, is that, we've moved probably 18 times. My daughter had moved like 6 times. I had a son that moved 9 times. But my point is this, is that I could control how I reacted to me not being able to become what I am to this day. And it never bothered me. All I kept doing was keep doing the best that I could do and keep being the best coach and teacher I could be for the people I was coaching and teaching. And that's what Coach Lane does with you all. And I'm going to tell you this, at 65 years old right now, fortunately for me, I became the oldest first-time head coach in the history of the NFL. Now, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that simply because I had been told for 10 years that it may pass you by because of an age. And let me tell you something, age is just a number. It's just a number. Now, I will say this. My wife is on me all the time. My hair has started to change a little bit. Now, she calls it gray. I don't call it gray. I call it silver. I keep telling her, I says, Carolyn, that's a sign of maturity and that's a sign of wisdom. It's not gray. I don't look at it as being gray. She said, why don't you get some of that Grisham 44, whatever that stuff is they use? No, hey, listen, the good Lord made me this way. The good Lord said, this is who you are. And he says, however you look is fine with him as long as I honor him. And let me tell you something, the most important thing for me is to make sure at this point I'm in the position I am today, being the head coach of the Houston Texans, because first and foremost, that's the most important thing in my life. And the second most important thing is my family. And the third most important thing is teaching young people just like you all. And it is an honor for me to sit and talk to you all. I can remember one time, Coach, you remember you brought your team over. I was coaching at the Eagles. I was coaching at the Eagles at the time. You're all in Philadelphia. And he brought the entire team over and we gave them a tour. And we gave them a tour of that. And I tell you what, I had never been so happy. And I can remember, I don't know if you know the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid. I worked with him for 18 years. And we brought him over there. And I can remember Andy saying, man, listen, I hope our team has the same kind of mindset and attitude that rowing team over there that Coach Lane just brought over has. And let me tell you something, I know you all got it. I know you do. I know you do. Because the first time I saw, Coach was in my way, but I saw a few of you with those big smiles, and then he at least did move it around where I could see the rest of you. Let me tell you something. There's nothing else you could be doing right now that's more important than what you're doing. And you're all doing it because you love to do it. You love to do it. Keep loving to do it. Understand that it's always about all of you all, not some of you, not one. It's all about all of you all. And if you do that, you all are going to be successful this season, just like you've had successful seasons before. And for you all that have walked on, a special kudos to you all, because to come out and do what you all are doing and what you are required to do tells me the kind of person and people that you are, to be able to make that sacrifice to do that. And let me tell you this, when that rowing is all over for you all, and you all go off and graduate and go off and do whatever it is you're going to do, whatever it is you're going to do, you're going to be successful in life because of what you're learning right now, doing what you're doing. And again, I could go on and on and on. Coach knows that I'll talk all day long, even for free. I told Coach, this don't cost him anything. But I just want to say, ladies, thank you. I appreciate being able to talk to you. I want to wish you good luck. And I can tell you this, you will be successful tomorrow if you go out there and you give it everything you got, the best you got, and you're going to be successful. And when it's all said and done and it's over, whether you finish in first place, second place, third place, or fourth place, do not, believe me this, do not lose those smiles you got right now. Understand it's just an event. You understand? It's just an event. All right? Well, I appreciate it, Coach. I don't know if it's going to help or not, but I do know this. I know this right here. If those young ladies are doing what I know you do and what you coach and how you go about your business, you're going to have, you're going to be successful. You've already been successful. And there's a reason why they're all with you.
That's right. That's right. Hey, Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time tonight. I know you're a busy guy. So
Hey, I'm never too busy for that. Never too busy for this.
Yeah. Well, when I think we're going to see you in December, maybe you'll be out in Jacksonville for a game.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, ladies, again, here's another ironic thing about that. Y'all know who we open up with this year?
Jaguars?
We open up with the Jaguars at home. All right, and listen to this. Y'all can relay a message down there if you want to whoever wants to hear it. We're going to kick their rear end. Just let them know that, okay? Just let them know that. Tell them I said that. They can put it in the newspapers, okay? That is a divisional opponent, and that's my feeling on it, okay? All right, but again, ladies, thank you so much, and good luck tomorrow.
All right, Coach. Have a great night.
All right.
All right. Pat, you there?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You keeping my daughter in line down there?
You know, she generally keeps me in line. I think there's more how it is. So I'm sorry to have you follow Coach Cully there. We had to sort of pull an audible and have him hop on first, but
Right.
I want to say a few words about you, and I probably screwed this up. So, and I also hopefully don't embarrass Bella, who's sitting behind me, and I will get my big mug out of the way. Yeah, your roommate. So Bella's dad, and I didn't know this until they walked in my office back in August, I think it was, has a special talent. And I never really followed this sport much, but apparently he was the first welterweight champion in the UFC fighting league. Is that a true statement?
Yes, sir. For about 4 years, I held the world title.
Yeah, and you were in the Hall of Fame, I believe, as well?
Yeah, somehow I got in there, Coach.
Yeah. So for literally your sport, and again, I'm a little naive about this, you literally get punched in the face for a living and fight people, right?
Well, world champions get paid not getting hit.
Yeah, okay. All right. Touche. I would imagine that has to be the ultimate mental test when you're in that octagon, keeping yourself in a good frame of mind. Is that true? I mean,
well, when you get to that level, you know, you've done things so many times that everything slows down. If for anybody that's seen the movie The Matrix, when Keanu Reeves is dodging bullets, when you are experiencing it, it happens that slowly. But then when you go back and watch it on film, it happens obviously very fast. So it's amazing how quickly the human mind can react.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I know you have a ton of experience with training athletes, with competing, and we had a conversation the other day that really got me thinking, and I think you have some really valuable contributions to what we're trying to do this weekend and tomorrow. I mean, we have a huge test in front of us and a huge challenge, and yeah, I guess I would like to know how you feel about that and what advice you might have for these young ladies here.
Well, I tell you what, as Coach Coley, correct?
Coach Coley, yeah, she's there.
Yeah, as Coach Coley was.
Coley. Sorry.
Yeah. As he was talking about the second stringers getting the opportunity to come up and do something amazing to help lift the team, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a huge opportunity, and unfortunately for the other girls, they tested positive. But no matter what, it comes down to obstacles. It always comes down to obstacles in life, and I can tell you that I've certainly had numerous obstacles in my life. I mean, when I had to leave college early to take care of my mother, she had heart problems, and this is just giving you one of my obstacles. And I had to make a decision, because I couldn't finish college, that I had to do something, and that my destiny was something bigger because of it, right? Because of that obstacle that I was facing. It was going to turn into something bigger, and it did. I just didn't go get a college degree, which would have been amazing, and I probably wouldn't have gotten punched in the face for a living had I been able to do that. But that's the route that I took. and it's for a reason. And the second stringer is getting the opportunity. A team, you know, to give you an idea of a broadcast, I'm a professional broadcaster also. A broadcast team I see as spokes in a wheel. All of us have to maintain our job and do our job, or the rim on that bike collapses. And that's really what you guys are, is you're all spokes in the wheel, and you all play an important role in that. And so that's what it comes down to. And accepting it, the acceptance part of just going, man, I'm getting thrust into this. All right, let's do it. Let's roll with it. And again, it's an obstacle. But obstacles, you know, and I'm going to maybe embarrass Bella a little bit with this, but I did something to her and her sister to put an obstacle in their life at a very young age. And I told them, I didn't mean it, but I kept the fib up as long as I could, as long as I had to. And I told them I wasn't going to pay for their college. I told them from the age 10, 12, I said, I'm not paying for your college. You either get great grades and do great in sports and get a scholarship, or you're probably going to have to go get a job. And they responded, and I knew they would. I knew the outcome would be that Bella would end up somewhere at a university. Her sister is already on her way to a university as a junior. She knows she's going to be going to a university. And both of them worked very hard their whole life. And so that's something that I felt as a father. It's not my job to coddle my daughters. It's not my job to take care of every problem. Of course, I'm going to do my best to protect them and give them advice that will protect them. But I wanted them to earn it, and I wanted them to fight for it. And that's what they've done, so that later on in life, they can look back on that and know that I didn't have to hold their hand to get it done. And that's a big thing for me, you know. And I didn't know I was going to become a world champion when I had to leave school, but I figured it out, you know, because of obstacles. So it's how, as the coach who spoke to you just before, how you view those obstacles and how you deal with situations is going to make you who you are. And so that's so super important. And it's about the process. So what you're going through right now, you're thinking about the championship. And I believe you guys are going to go get that. I'll give you a story about a fighter of mine, Jens Pulver. I had 12 world champions. He was the hardest one to coach. Hard on his sleeve, very difficult to coach. He'd yell at me in the middle of practice, scream obscenities at me, and he had a rough childhood, so he was a pretty aggressive guy. But I went over to his house one time after he became a world champion. And I said, "Where's your belts?" And he said, "They're under my bed." And I said, "Why don't you have them up on the wall?" And he goes, "It wasn't about the belts." He goes, "It was about the process." And you know, it's funny, my belts were sitting in boxes in my basement at the same time. So that's what we understood, that once you get to that point and once you win things, it is about winning. It is about doing your best. But you'll look back at all the friendships that you've created here at Jacksonville and the experience with coaches and the university itself, and you'll understand that it's about the experiences. It's about the heartbreak. It's about the smiles, the laughter, the wins, the losses. All of that creates who you end up being. And that's really important for everybody to understand that.
Absolutely. I have sort of a question.
Sure.
So I don't know if there's one specific time, but the time when you've been knocked down in a fight, what goes through your mind to get you to stand back up and keep going?
Well, from that perspective, I mean, I can tell you this: I never got knocked down in a fight, but I did lose. And I'll tell you about my first loss as a professional fighter. I was 15-0. I was ranked 4th in the world, and I started feeling like I was, you know, King Kong. And my first pay-per-view fight, I fought a guy named Matt Hume, Hume, and I had studied him a little bit and observed that he was #1 for a reason. It was going to be pretty tough. But I went out and I basically ragdolled him the first 5 minutes. And at the very end of the round, he caught me with a knee in the nose and didn't hurt me. But we went back to the corners at the end of the first 5-minute round. And the ring doctor came in and felt my nose and he said, "I think it's broken." And at the time, the sport was very controversial. They stopped the fight, so I lost the fight. I'm now 15-1. Now I'm not, I'm not the guy I thought I was. But it was at that moment, through that, the misery of the feeling just of your first loss. Man, I can't believe I lost. You know, you think you're perfect, but I can tell you this, that was the moment that made me a world champion. When I understood what being the best in the world was, because I just faced it, because I ragdolled him the whole first round, coach. And at no time, if you were to watch the film, you'd go, my God, you're killing it. At no time during that fight did I ever feel in control or that I was winning. I was saying to myself the whole time going, this is the smartest human being I've ever dealt with in my life. So it was, you know, it really did. It made me who I was. And that's the thing. People will say to you time and time again, you know, don't look at it as a loss. Look at it as a learning experience. It's all experience, right? It's all experience. And the better quality of people that you train with, steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron, and the opponent, facing tough opponents, you know, which you guys will tomorrow. And it makes you that much sharper. And Coach Lane, you've been there as a coach. Many of those rowers have been there. So you're used to it. You're used to the pressure, the stress, and you take it and you enjoy it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's getting knocked down and then getting back up and going after it. And, you know.
Right. And it's all about, it's really all about perspective. And I'll tell you a story about a dad and two girls, 6 years old and 4 years old. The 6-year-old, I said, the 6-year-old, it's time for her to learn how to ride her bike. And so we're going to take the training wheels off. And the 4-year-old says, I want my training wheels off too. And basically the dad says, yeah, you're really not ready, not at 4. No, you take my training wheels off, Dad. So the dad takes the training wheels off the 4-year-old's bike as well, and grabs a hold of the seats, and he gives one a push and then gives the other a push. 6-year-old falls over and cries because she expects perfection at that moment. She expects to be able to be perfect and to be able to do it at that moment. And she's mad at herself. The 4-year-old falls over and she brushes off her knees and she says, push me again. She's looking at it as a process that eventually she's going to be able to ride the bike. Where the 6-year-old expected to ride the bike without the training wheels the first time she got on it, right? So, but those perspectives change with experience, right? You know, the pain and the training that you've all been through, the experiences that you've had up to this point in life has taught you a perspective of just keep going, right? No matter what, just keep going, because you're going to get it right if you keep practicing it. And you know, one of the last points, I'll make 2 more points, Coach. And one's another story about a farmer. And this is about preparation. And I have a feeling that Coach Lane has prepared you guys well, and that you've worked very hard this year. Rowing is brutally hard. Rowing is harder than fighting. With experience, I can rest as a fighter when I want. Okay, I know when I can rest. Rowing, do it. So you guys, I know, have done the work. So this farmer hires a 19-year-old kid to help him around his farm, and the farmer's really, really impressed with this 19-year-old kid and his work ethic. Does everything he's told, gets everything done, and does it the way it's supposed to be done. He's preparing correctly. And one evening, there's a huge storm that comes up, and there's tornadoes everywhere, and the farmer jumps out of bed and runs out to he said, basically, why should I hire you in the hiring process? He said, why would I hire you over somebody else? He said, because I can sleep at any time, anywhere, under any circumstances. And so, having known that, the farmer runs out, goes to the kid's shack that he's living in on the farm. He's trying to wake him up. We've got to tie down, you know, all this equipment. We've got to tie down the hay. We've got to put everything in the barn that's supposed to be in the barn. And he can't wake the kid up. And so he decides he's going to go do it himself. He can't wake the kid up. And when he gets to the farm equipment, it's all been put in the barn. And he gets to the hay, and the hay has all been tied down. And everything that he said he needed to do was already done. And then it dawned on him why that kid can sleep at any time, anywhere, under any circumstances, because he's prepared. He's already done the preparations. And that's the way you guys should feel going into tomorrow. right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, tomorrow is just you know, it's the final. If we go to class every day, you know, we're going to be fine, right? And that's what we've been doing. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And, you know, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, do you have any final thoughts for these guys before we send them up to their rooms and put them to sleep?
You know, I want to share one thing I read not that long ago, and I think I told Bella about it, but it's interesting. You know, I've always loved helping people, and I didn't know why I loved helping people. I think something inside of me, maybe I was the small kid, I always got picked on, that sort of stuff. And so I like to look out for people that need help, and I like helping law enforcement. I love teaching kids, 5-year-olds. Nothing better than teaching 5-year-olds, right? And giving them some confidence in themselves. But I read something that put this all in perspective of it helps you understand not only the way you act and react to circumstances, but also the way other people do. And you'll learn something about everyone around you when you hear this and understand this concept, because it hit me in the face like, wow, that's amazing. And so I said numerous times that humans are the only animal born with no self-defense instinct in them. We are completely helpless unless we're taught how to fight. We literally are. And that's kind of a scary thought, isn't it? If a bad person comes after you and they've been in a few fights, you don't want that to happen. But in the book that I was reading, it said, we're helpless. We're literally helpless at birth. So we have to have our parents help us change our diaper, feed us, do all these different things. And it's always when we cry and they come and take care of us. And we get what we want, we get what we want, and we get what we want. So as we transition into adulthood, when people treat us wrong or circumstances don't go our way, we kind of have to sit back now and understand that we're not the center of the universe. And that if we love someone, we have to do that without expecting love back. We have to do nice things for other people without expecting them to in turn do it for me. And most of my life, there have been a few instances where I've certainly made mistakes. We all do. But I never expected a 5-year-old kid to help me after I taught him. This is something that I can look back on and go, I did that just to help the kid because I love kids, right? So that way we can also learn, you know, that is the idea of unconditional love for other people, right? So that's really important to understand that we can love someone and not expect something to come back for us. Do favors for others and not expect it to come back. And what you guys are doing tomorrow together should demonstrate your unconditional love for each other, that you're going to go out and you're going to perform, and you're going to perform with excellence because you're doing it out of love. Love for what you're doing, and love for your teammates, and love for your coach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. I like that a lot. Pat, you don't know this on this end, but our room's air conditioning's not working, and it's about 1,000 degrees in here.
That's another obstacle.
Yeah, no, it's, but I appreciate you taking the time, and, you know, we hope to see you in person, you know, next time we do this.
I'm looking forward to it, sir. You guys have fun tomorrow, a lot of smiles, and the experience. You'll come home with trophies, but it's friendships and the experience, right?
That's it. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Take care.